2 weeks before Purim, so we'll do some halachas of Purim.
Good.
So we're going to do today halacha. It says in the Siman Tafresh Tzadik Vav that Purim mutter b'asiyas melacha. Purim, you're allowed to do work on Purim, even though it's a Yom Tov, but work you're allowed to do on Purim. There's no issa asiyas melacha, like Shabbos and Yom Tov is an issa asiyas melacha. By Purim there's no issa of doing melacha. And the place where the minhag is not to do malacha, we don't do malacha. And today the minhag is that we don't do malacha on Purim.
Except accountants.
So the Mishmur brings down from the Taz that uparkamatya, which is business, mutter shesimcha hiloi. The simcha for him, so that I do a business on Purim. But the makar to this halacha is Gemara Megillah. The Gemara Megillah says, the whole Gemara Megillah, if you like, plant a tree on Purim, and the Gemara says that maybe you can't plant trees on Purim because you're not do malacha. So the Gemara says like this: Hesped v'tainis kabilu alayu. Hesped and Tainis, the Yidden in the times of the Nesa Purim will makabel upon themselves that it's also behesped and v'tainis, you're not allowed to make hesped on Purim, you're not allowed to fast on Purim. Melacha loy kabilu alayu. Yeah. Melacha loy kabilu alayu. Not to do melacha, the Yidden in the times of Purim will not makabel upon themselves the Yom Tov to the extent that they won't do melacha. Only to the extent of Tainis and Hesped. Why? What's the raya? Because it says in the Megillah, they make korek siv, simcha or mishta v'yom tov. It says when they wanted to make the Yom Tov, it says in the Megillah, simcha or mishta v'yom tov. Chacham said we're going to make this for a simcha and a mishta and a Yom Tov. Ul'b'soif ksiv la'asais oisam yimei mishta v'simcha. Ve'ilu Yom Tov loiksiv. Doesn't say Yom Tov. So you see that even though they wanted it to make it Aseh b'asiyas melacha, the Yidden of that time didn't accept Purim as a Yom Tov of Isra asiyas melacha. They only accepted it as Simcha u'Mishta. So now, if you look in the Lashon of the Megillah, so from here we see that melacha is mutar in Yom Tov. But some people had the minhag afterwards. They asked the melacha, and that's totally in the minhag. Makom shei asru, you shouldn't do it. And the Ramah says the minhag is that we don't do melacha on Purim. But if you look at the lashon in the Megillah, there's a very interesting lashon. It says like this: the first time it says when the Chachamim at that time went to institute a Yom Tov, it says simcha u'mishta v'yom tov. They wanted to make a simcha, mishta v'yom tov. At the end, when they were makabel upon themselves the Yom Tov, it says, it doesn't say Yom Tov, but it also changes something else. It says, La'asais oisam yimei mishta v'simcha. It starts off saying simcha u'mishta v'yom tov. Simcha first, then mishta, and then Yom Tov. And when they were makabel upon themselves, it doesn't say they were makabel upon themselves simcha or mishta. Mishta or simcha, it says. They were makabel upon themselves mishta and simcha. You know, every single word in the Megillah is there for a reason, and there's a change. There's a change for a reason also. So why does it say they wanted the Chacham wanted them to accept simcha or mishta v'yom tov, and they accepted mishta v'simcha? Why does it say simcha or mishta? Do you have an answer?
Because they weren't makabel, I don't understand.
No, but it doesn't say. It says in the beginning they wanted to take it simcha or mishta v'yom tov, and what were they makabel at the end? Mishta v'simcha, not simcha v'mishta.
And no Yom Tov.
Mishta and no Yom Tov. So no Yom Tov anymore. It says. It's a Mishta. So we'll see.
I would say something like if there was an Isra Malacha, like the Chaim wanted to establish, so then it would automatically be a day of Simcha, and there was Simcha and Mishta could have come as an aside,
an outcome
of it. Right. But if there was no Isra Malacha, then you need something else to bring on the Simcha. So there you have to have Mishta, and that's it.
Okay, very good. That won't be enough, Kamina. Okay, very good. That's you basically hit it on the nose. I will explain. Rabbi Zoltan in the Sefer Shelis Yavitz is medayik this, and he says something very interesting. He says that if there would have been a Yom Tov, a Nissa Malacha, then every Yom Tov you now do Malacha, and there's something called Simchas Yom Tov. The Simchas Yom Tov. The Mishteh is an effect of the Yom Tov. Meaning, you have Simcha or Mishteh v'Yom Tov. There's a Simcha. Why is there Simcha? Because it's a Yom Tov. And there's automatically a Yom Simcha. Automatically a Yom Simcha. The Jews were Mekabel to be a Yom Tov, and there's always a Malacha. They were Mekabel Mishteh v'Simcha. What does it mean Mishteh v'Simcha? It's not a day of Simcha. It's a day of Mishteh. And through the Mishteh, we'll have Simcha. And we'll see it makes a big difference. Because the whole day is not a day of Simcha. It's a day of Purim. You should have a Mishteh, and the Mishteh brings Simcha. And there's one big difference. He says like this. He says that the halacha says that you're allowed to make a chasana on Purim. Did I make a chasana on Purim? It says.
You would remember. A wedding in costume for?
You remember.
Muta Lisa Isha Purim. You're allowed to marry a woman on Purim. Bein be a dal, bein mitazvav. You're allowed to have a chasana on Purim. Now we know there's a klal. And the Magen Avraham asked the kasha, you're not allowed to make a chasana on Yom Tov, even Chalamoid. You're not allowed to make a chasana even Chalamoid Yom Tov. Why? Because they have a simcha b'simcha. You can't mix one simcha with the other simcha. So you're not allowed to make a chasana on Chalamoid. On Purim, you're allowed to make a chasana, and the Magen Avraham is bothered. Why are you allowed to make a chasana on Purim? Eimar v'simcha b'simcha. And it says like this: because of a levush. If you mashak a safti simtamish beches yivav, the ein lase sudas Purim b'Shabbos. A sudas Purim will never make on Shabbos. Now for us, the chusla is not really negeya, because Purim never falls out on Shabbos. But in Yisrael, Purim could fall out on Shabbos. Tezvav could be on Shabbos. They call that Purim Meshulash. When Purim falls out on Shabbos, the sudas Purim is not on Shabbos. Why not? So it says the ein lase sudas Purim b'Shabbos. Im kain hachanami also lases sudas nisuin biyadalid. So you understand, the Vush is understanding you can't make a sudas Purim on Shabbos. Why not? You have Shabbos, you have a chiv suda on Shabbos. Purim, you can't eimar v'simcha b'simcha. If that's the case, you shouldn't be able to make a sudas nisuin. Maybe you can get married on Purim, but the sudas nisuin you can't make on Purim. V'lo nira says the Magen Avraham lo'idami to hasem hatam im kain lo'tehi sudas Purim nikeres. If you do it on Shabbos, then you can't tell that you're doing it for Purim. Then maybe it's a Suda Shabbos. Who says it's a Suda Purim? Therefore you can't do it on Shabbos. On Purim, if you make a Suda, people know it's for Purim. What's the problem? People may not know that the Suda Nesuin is for marriage. They'll think even the Suda Nesuin is because of a Suda Purim. And that says we don't worry about that. That the Sudas Nesuin, people can't tell that it's made for Nesuin. Hello, ikash hakasha. It can't be ma'av simcha b'simcha. So why over here is there no problem of a ma'av simcha b'simcha? Why could you have a Sudas Nesuin on Purim? Why could you have a chasana on Purim? So he says, according to this, there's a very simple answer. Why can't you be ma'av simcha b'simcha on a regular Yom Tov? On Chalamoid, you can't make a chasana. Why not? Why? Because the whole day, since it's an Issa Malach Chalamoid, the whole day is a Yom Tov. 24 hours of the day is a Yom Tov. You make a chasana on that day, but on Purim, since there's no Issa Malacha, and they didn't accept it for that, and they accepted Mishteh v'Simcha, not Simcha or Mishteh, so what happens? There's no din of Simcha whole day on Purim. The simcha is contained to the Suda. B'shas the Suda, you have to have simcha.
So why don't we say you should start the Suda very early? Say Chaparayim.
You have simcha the whole day.
Yeah.
Maybe in a Chaim you should. But we'll see in a second exactly when you start the Suda. But if that's the case, so there's no problem of having a chasana on Purim. You have the chasana. There's no din simcha yet. There's no ein ma'avin simcha v'simcha. The whole simcha's Purim is contained to the Suda. That's why there's no problem ein ma'avin simcha v'simcha. And there'll be a lot of practical differences also. One practical difference is we know there's a Gemara and Allah has brought down. However, we understand it. I don't want to get into the whole discussion now. Person has to he has to get happy, he has to drink on Purim. There's a mitzvah for someone to drink on Purim. To what extent do you want to get shikr? We'll leave that for a different time. But there's definitely a mitzvah, some type of mitzvah, chayiv adam levasumi b'parayim. When is that? When is that mitzvah of chayiv adam levasumi b'parayim? If the simcha a whole day, maybe any time during the day, you drink and you become merry, and you become the mitzvah chayiv adam levasumi b'parayim. But if you're going to say that the whole din simcha on Purim is contained to the Suda, if someone drinks and it's shaloi b'shas Suda, he missed the boat. The whole din simcha is during the Suda. So if someone's going to drink before the Suda, he missed the boat.
What if he's drunk during the Suda?
What do you mean? He started the Suda?
He drank at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Preparing.
And didn't start the Suda?
At 5 o'clock he eats the Suda, but he's still flying high.
It's not good enough. Because you have to drink by the Suda. Doesn't have to be drunk by the Suda. Because you have to drink by the Suda.
What does it say? What does it say? You have to have simcha during the Suda.
Chayiv adam levasumi means to drink by the Suda. Doesn't say you should come to the Suda drunk.
Yeah. You're preparing for the Suda.
Prepare for the Suda.
The Hechsher mitzvah.
It takes time. You can't get drunk.
We just learned Kitzur just now. Kitzur makes a point of saying there's an inyan of simcha on the night of Purim, even before.
Right. So the question is, what does it mean in your simcha the night before? Suda.
To have a Suda.
He says to have a Suda.
Right.
It doesn't say to have simcha without a Suda.
Right.
The simcha is through the Suda.
Right.
The simcha is through the Suda.
Is there a difference
then and also
in Mishta and Suda? Because based on what you're saying with Mishta and Simcha and Mishta, the lush that was used, is it if you would say Suda as opposed to that?
No, Mishta means the Suda. Mishta is the Suda.
They used it to mean the same thing.
Yeah. Mishta means the Suda. So that's one practical difference. Is if when the chi of the Vesumi is. So according to it's only during the Suda, and there's rayas from the Rambam. There's a lot of rayas that the whole din of the Vesumi is only b'shas the Suda. If someone's going to go ahead and drink a whole morning before you start the Suda, you shouldn't do that. B'shas the Suda you wash, and then maybe you should start the Suda earlier and mekayim simcha whole day. And lechanami. But if you mekayim the Suda in the morning already, and you yotzi Suda's Purim, then you finish the Suda already. You have to do one Suda. Some people they wash in the morning.
You eat all day.
Yeah, if you eat all day, that's fine. Yeah, if you eat all day, you don't bench late. Not Masech Das. Yeah, but you go around the whole day.
You're okay. You wash at home. You make it.
You have to keep on eating.
you have to do an early mincha.
Yeah, you have to do early mincha. That's what we're doing early mincha. Taka. They say in the Haim, the Babas used to wash in the morning and bench at night. Because they were in the kitchen the whole day. So they were always gnashing. They used to wash in the morning and bench at night. That's one difference. And there's another big difference, which is, there's a big machlokes. We notice we say Al Nisim on Purim. Right? The davening and the Bechsa Mozayin. So the halacha is that if someone forgot to say Al Nisim by davening, so everyone agrees that you don't have to daven over again. You don't have to daven over again. It's a Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara says that any day that you have Musaf, if you forgot to say Ya'al v'Yava in davening, you have to daven over again. Any day where there's no Musaf, if you forgot to say what you're supposed to add on for that day, you don't have to daven over again. So Chalamoid, there's Musaf, you didn't say Ya'al v'Yava, you have to daven over again. Chanukah, Purim, there's no Musaf, you didn't say Al Nisim, you don't have to daven over again. Why?
What about Rosh Chodesh and Chanukah?
and you forget Al Nisim, so Pasha you don't have to daven, As Al Nisim you have to daven over again.
Yeah, because it's a Rosh
Chodesh, yeah.
But Yalav Yavai.
Pashas. Yeah. The question is if it's we'll get that in a second. Yeah. So when a day is Musaf, you daven over again. A day where there's no Musaf, you don't daven over again. And why? Because the day is Musaf, it shows that holiday, that Yom Tov, is a Chashav Yom Tov, and therefore you have to make sure that you say the Me'en HaMa'ura of that Yom Tov. You have to say Yalv Yavai. You have to make sure you say Yalv Yavai. If you didn't say it, so Ma'ariv is a different reason. Yeah, that's a different reason why Ma'ariv Rosh Chodesh you don't daven over again. So
why don't we say Halal then on Purim? On all other holidays we say.
So the Gemara asked the question. The Gemara asked the question. The Gemara says that the Megillah Kriyas Zuhi Yedula. The Kriyas Megillah is the Halal of Purim.
Yeah.
That's what the Gemara says. The Megillah itself is the Halal of Purim.
Yeah.
So you don't say Yalv Yavai and Rosh Chodesh, you daven over again. On Purim and Chanukah, you don't say Al Nisim, you don't daven over again. How about in benching? If someone forgot Al Nisim in benching on Purim, does he have to bench over again? Or Al Nisim on Chanukah, does he have to bench over again?
More Purim than Chanukah.
Why?
Because of the Chi of Suda.
Fine, very good. Mm-hmm. So the halach is, if someone forgets the Yalv Yavai on Rosh Chodesh by benching, he doesn't bench over again. Why not? Because there's no Chi of Suda. There's no Chi of Suda. The Gemara says, you forget the Yalv Yavai in davening, you daven over again because Yom She'emin Musaf. By benching, you don't have to because there's no Chi of Suda. Shabbos, Yom Tov, there's a Chi of Suda. You have to say Yalv Yavai over again because there's a Chi of Suda. If it's Chalamoid, you also has a Chi of Suda. You have to bench over again. Rosh Hashanah is a whole question.
So if it's Shabbos Rosh Chodesh and you forget Yalv Yavai,
so Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. Right. If it's Shabbos Rosh Chodesh and you forget Yalv Yavai, there's a machlokes in the Poskim. What happens? Because there is a Chi of Suda.
Yeah.
But the question is the Yalv Yavai, not because of Rosh Chodesh. Yeah.
I don't think we do.
But can you say the concept Tadir v'Tadir Tadir?
What?
Can you say the concept Tadir v'Sheino Tadir Kodem?
And then what?
That based on that logic, then you wouldn't say it Yalav Yavai because Shabbos is more frequent than Rosh Chodesh.
Yeah, but still, if you don't say Yalv Yavai, you have to bench over again. Tadir and Tadir is when you're doing both, which one comes first?
Oh, okay.
But by Purim it says that I'm al mitzvah b'chsamazon, and if you don't say it, so the Magen Avraham brings down v'im shokach al mitzvah b'chsamazon machzir noisoi. You have to bench over again. Why? L'sagid l'yachil. It's not if you have to eat. You have to have a suda. L'sagid l'yachil says the Magen Avraham.
Is Al Nisim talking? We're talking about
Al Nisim. On Purim.
But we don't.
Who says we don't?
Who said it?
I'll see in a second.
I don't think we do.
I'll see in a second.
The Magen Avraham says we do.
We'll see in a second.
The Magen Avraham says we do.
The Magen Avraham says, you have to bench over again. So he has a question. He says, the autumn he otaf mitfila, the chayvahi, vafil hachi emachzir noisoi. Tefillah is a chayv. The daven on Purim is a chayv. If you don't say Al Nisim, you don't daven over again. Benching, if you don't say Al Nisim, you have to bench over again.
It's a derisa benching.
So,
maybe it's more.
But before we said it's a Suda, right?
Right.
Suda was.
So now the question is, what's the Magen Avram's kasha? We just said that it's a Suda din. It's a din and Suda, and the Gemara says that if Yalv Yavai in davening is totally in Musaf, Yalv Yavai in benching is totally in Chi of Suda. So Purim you have a Chi of Suda, there's no Musaf, so in benching you should bench over again, and then if it's davening, you shouldn't daven over again. What's the Magen Avram's kasha? And the answer is the Magen Avram from the Gemara's Mashma that we don't start with benching over again if it's a day you don't say Musaf. If it's a day you don't say Musaf, that means that whole day is not such a chashuv a day. So even if you have to eat something that day, it's not better than davening that day. Right? Davening you have to. That's a Magen Avram's kasha. If a day you don't say Musaf basically means that day is not chashuv enough that if you don't mention the Ya'al v'Yavoi or Al Nisim, they have to daven over again.
So we don't.
That day.
So we don't.
And that's what we'll see in a second. Some brachos lahaka, so that's what we don't.
Okay.
So if you don't say, the one of them has a good kasha, because to get off, as they call it, get off first base, it has to be a day that's a chashuv a day that makes you daven over again. If it's not a day that makes you daven over again, so the benching, sure you won't bench over again.
So the two things aren't separate.
Right.
The two things is a package deal.
It's right. It's one's built on the next. If once it becomes a chashuv a day, then we could go look. Is there a chiyuv suda today? For shchaydish is no chiyuv suda, so benching you won't bench over again. But you have to first get to the first step. It has to be a day that is musaf.
It's the only thing that defines a shibud on the day musaf.
That's what the Gemara says.
That's what the Gemara says. So the only thing. So that Suda of Purim, which defines that day, really doesn't.
Oh, that's what we're getting to. That's what we're going to get to. The Gemara says
the Suda of Purim defines the day.
Yeah.
Like as if
so that's
equating it to musaf on that defines.
So that's what I want to get to.
Right.
That's what I want to get to. Then.
There's no
Yeah. So from the Gemara, the Magen Avram says, Mashal from the Gemara, that the way we start off to show that it's a chashuv a day, that if you don't mention what's supposed to mention that day, you have to have it over again, is musaf. Therefore, once you pass the first step, now when it comes time to benching, you see if you have a chiyuv suda or not. If there's no chiyuv suda, then you don't bench over again. Therefore, on Purim, where you don't even get off the first level, that means there's no chiyuv musaf, there's no musaf, so then you'll never bench over again, you never daven over again. That's the Magen Avram's svara. The question is, the Chalkim on the Magen Avram, the Lavush, who says if you don't bench, you have to, if you don't say this is a bench, you have to bench over again. What does he hold? So according to what he said till now, we can understand it very well. The Suda that you eat on Yom Tov, is it the same as a Suda you eat on Purim? What would you say? The Chiyuv Suda on Yom Tov, is it the same Chiyuv Suda that you have on Purim?
No, because the source of Simcha of Yom Tov is Yom Tov itself. The source of Simcha of Purim is
the source of
the Mishnah.
The source of Suda on Yom Tov is built on the holiday of Yom Tov, on Yom Tov, the Simchas Yom Tov. Off of that comes a Chiyuv Suda. Therefore, it's dependent in the whole Simchas Yom Tov. If there's no Musaf, then there's no Simchas Yom Tov enough to be mechayiv you to bench over again. Since the whole Suda is dependent on the holiday itself, the Yom Tov, the Simchas Yom Tov itself. On Purim, we just said that on Purim, the Chiyuv Suda is not dependent on the Simchas Yom Tov. It's an entity in itself. The Suda is a Chiyuv by itself, not dependent on the day of Purim. Meaning, not dependent on the Simchas Yom Tov of Purim. It's a din in the Suda itself. So the din in the Suda itself, I don't care if you say if there's Musaf or not. The Chiyuv Suda says you have to eat a Suda, even though the holiday Yom Tov is not strong enough to mechayiv you musaf, and to mechayiv you to daven over again. But when the gay benching, you have to bench over again. That's the svar of the Lavush. The Suda, what comes out like this is the Suda of Yom Tov is dependent in the Simchas Yom Tov. The Suda on Purim is not dependent in the Simchas Yom Tov. It's the opposite. The Simcha of Purim is dependent in the Suda. So we're starting from the Suda. There we get to the Simcha. By a regular Yom Tov, it's the opposite. I have the Simcha, and that Simcha is mechayiv you in the Suda. So that's how we can understand that why on Purim, even though you're not davening over again without Nisim, but benching you'll have to bench over again. Why? Because the Simcha starts from the Suda, not the Suda from the Simcha. That could be asked the Magen Avram.
This also you could explain why on a Purim Meshulash you could have the Suda, not on Purim.
Right, okay, it's also very good.
So otherwise you would say it's not Purim anymore, so just forget the Suda.
That's true, very good.
You could have the Suda.
On Purim Meshulash, you don't have the Suda on Purim. So you have the Suda the next day. What is it? Did you ever say any Yom Tov, if you can't eat the Suda's Yom Tov on Yom Tov, you should eat it the next day. It's nothing. What is it?
Yeah.
It's very good. I like that. I like that. With
these 1,000 people are going to hear that
from Manny Greenberg.
From Dr. Manny Greenberg.
Dr. Manny Greenberg.
His address is so-and-so. Bring your own.
I like that. It's a very good swallow. That would answer. Why? What's on a Purim Meshulash? You have the Suda the next day. What is it? According to this, it's very good. Because the Suda on Purim doesn't come from the Simchas Yom Tov that makes the Suda. The Suda is an entity by itself. There's a chiv to have a Suda for Purim.
So there would be a difference between Chanukah and Purim.
A big difference.
There's no chiv.
Right, a big difference. Right. Chanukah is no chiv Suda. That's why if you forget Al Nisim on Chanukah, everyone agrees you don't bench over again. But on Purim, there's a machlokes. And it's very good svara why you should have to bench over again, because the Suda is mechayiv the Simcha, and therefore the Suda is chashuv enough to say you have to have Al Nisim. The Meiser, and is very worried about the halacha.
I'm not very worried. I know what I do. I don't do it.
The Meiser.
I don't think we do. Very easy to forget.
That's true.
Very easy to forget. I'll need some to do it.
Here, I'm Alisa Bichstamazan, Bichsares. So it says like this. First of all, one halacha you have to know. The Mishabura says over here, "V'mshakach lemin al nisim yesh ha'imrim the machzirin oisai." That's the lavush we just saw. V'yesh ha'imrim the emachzirin oisai. The Magen Avram says emachzirin oisai. What do? V'safik bracha is lahakol. The reason why you don't bench over again is because safik bracha is lahakol. V'dafke v'suda v'shayne she'echel by b'yoyim v'suda shniya she'echel achar mincha she'karen to this Purim u'kvar ochal sudas achas b'yoyim she'v'machzirin oisai. If you had 81 suda, the second suda is not a chiv anymore. So what do? Shegil l'rachamon yem l'rachamon yaslo nisim.
What if you finish eating in daylight and you forgot Al Nisim? Maybe you should wash again and bench with Al Nisim. Opinion in that or not really?
No.
You've already done one Suda.
I don't was in that.
Because Suda's over.
Yeah, you're kind of Suda already. No in you to get in the Al Nisim. You missed it. So this is another interesting halacha, which is also a very common thing. If the Suda Hitzchel Sudasim b'yoyim u'moshcha ad halayla, you start the Suda by day, which is a very common thing, and it goes into the night. One thing you should know: people who start the Sudas very, very close to Shkia, they miss the boat, because you have to have a regular Suda. The main part of Suda has to be by day. Yeah, if it's mamshach into the night, you're fine. But if you come, it's late, let's sit there and watch, and eat a kazayis before it gets dark.
You barely make it.
It's not the way it should be done. You're supposed to eat the Suda by day. If the Suda was nimshach into the night, then al nisim.
I always thought
you still say al nisim.
I always thought you had to wash and have the kazayis bread before it got shkia.
But that's not the main Suda. That's how Rav Suda say.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, no. That Rav Suda say.
What time do you say yours?
Way before Shkia. By the time we get to Shkia, usually I'm already past the main dish. You're supposed to have basar, dog, and whatever you're supposed to have at a Suda. And if you eat it at night, it's after Purim. It's after Purim already. You're eating your main Suda, the basar, you're eating at night.
So, like this year, what time will you sit down?
We have plenty of time.
Yeah, change the clock.
Change the clock. And I've Suda school at 5 o'clock, I think, this year.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, that's what I usually do. 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's why they did it this year.
So, how about if you continue your Suda into the night, and now you're coming to bench, it's not Purim anymore. You say Al Nisim.
It's like Shabbos.
It's like Shabbos. So Allah is, behold, you say Al Nisim. But some people do this. I've seen it a lot already. Sometimes people will have Ma'ariv in the middle of the Suda, and then they bench.
Then you kill.
Then you killed Al Nisim already.
Then what?
You killed Al Nisim. Then you can't say Al Nisim.
Because you're in a target assessment.
How are you doing that? How are you doing that if you're the Simcha of the Suda?
Oh, then you can actually.
Depends how simcha you are. Depends how simcha you are.
It's a serious issue.
Yeah. After you open the Lefnei Melech, if someone can't stand the Lefnei Melech, you shouldn't daven.
Right.
You shouldn't daven. Yeah, so you would say Al Nisim even though it goes into the night. You'd still say Al Nisim because we go basa tchilas sudas linan. We go basa when you started the suda. Not when you finish the suda. You started the suda with Purim. You'll say Al Nisim. But there, everyone agrees if you forgot Al Nisim, you won't have it over again. You won't bench over again.
What if you went into the night and you forgot it?
Yeah, whatever it is. So it's like this: Yesh ayim dafka k'shlei spal arvis adayin. But spal once you daven ma'ariv, shuv ein aimroi ein aim al nisim. You don't say al nisim anymore. Once it's daven ma'ariv, you can't say it. V'yesh aimrim.
So there's a problem if you daven ma'ariv before you eat roiv suda. It's a problem.
If you daven ma'ariv before you eat roiv suda,
it's a problem, no? Because
yeah, but if it's a night anyway, it's a problem.
You're supposed to have rosh suda without the day.
Yeah. If you daven ma'ariv early. Even though you daven ma'ariv, I came anochay to yivarach with chesamolzayin koydim sheyispal lo'hoy ta'asma plukta. Don't get involved in don't try to get into machlokes. What you should do, therefore, you should make sure you bench before you daven ma'ariv and afterwards daven ma'ariv. That's the best way to do it.
I just wanted, I maybe misunderstood what you said. You weren't saying that if it's after dark and you forget on this thing, you don't repeat?
Yeah. If it's after dark, we said before that if it's even before it gets dark, if you forget on nisim, safek brachos lahakol. Different, you won't say it. The nafkamina would be safek brachos lahakol means that don't bench over again because it's maybe brachos lavatala.
Right.
But if there's someone else benching, right, you should tell him, have me in mind. Because it doesn't say we pass that you don't have to bench over again. But we're not machriya what you should do. Safek brachos lahakol. What should we do? You won't make another bracha. But doesn't mean you're finished. Doesn't mean you're okay. Someone's benching next to you. Say, listen, do me a favor. I forgot on nisim. Please have me in mind when you bench. That's okay. At night, if you get on nisim, even that you don't have to do. If it got dark and you benched and you didn't say al nisim, even that you don't have to do.
When you say
even though you started the meal during the day,
right?
When you say you have me in mind, you have to hear me do the whole benching, right?
Yeah, the whole benching.
The whole benching.
Yeah. Well, at least the fourth bracha. The harachmas you don't have to hear. But at least through overlay for sure. Fine, very good.